So I'm Pieter Koornneef. I'm a last year medical student and I did an internship in the United States in New York. This was 1 year ago right now. So I was there for 3 months, Mount Sinai. Yeah, basically did an internship surgery over there. I did 2 months on transplantation and 1 on general surgery. Had a really great time over there. I wanted to do this since I was in high school. I'm not sure why, but I really like the English language. I like, you know, we see a lot of American television, a lot of British television. I was just very intrigued by the country. Also, you know, from a professional point of view, you want to see another country as well. That's where my interest came from. And I was in New York actually, and I met somebody over there who kind of did the same. And he said it was very easy to, well, relatively easy. It's a lot of paperwork, obviously, but relatively easy to go there. He told me to just give it a try, and I could always contact him. So that's kind of how I got to do that, and also a bit of my interest of going there. The most important thing of going there is to know that there's a possibility. I know, like, there's a lot of people out there who think it's not possible, but I've actually spoken to people in New York as well. Other students that were from Germany, for example, who went to Atlanta. I've heard of another guy who goes to, I think, Cleveland or something. So first of all, you just need to realize that it's just possible. You just need to know the right people. That's what happened for me. I knew the right guy who told me this link on the internet where everything was cited. You know, every application, all the information you need. For me, the most important thing was to get the support of my university behind me. You need all your paperwork, but actually, you just need to do well in school. You know, that sounds very boring, but it's one of the things that you need to try to do. For this internship, I needed the backing of my school. So once I got that, you know, you need your letter of good standard, you need your transcript of records. Other than that, it's a medical form you need to fill out. You know, it costs some money, obviously. It's a big investment. But if you got that, you got your investment, and you got the backing of your school, it was actually relatively easy to go there. After you've got your backing of the university, you start looking at the cost as well. There's the application fees you have to think of. They're around, I think, $400 or $500 per month as well. You got also you need a letter of eligibility of the New York State that you're actually qualified enough to do this job. This sounds very interesting, but it's actually just taking an infection control test, and also I think like $50 worth of fees as well. If you've done that, you also have to apply for a visa, of course. That's the F1 visa I think you need. That's once you've got the Mount Sinai backing. You know, I'm already talking after you got accepted in Mount Sinai. Then you apply for the Mount Sinai, for the F1 visa. I think that was a few $100s as well. At least you have to pay the SEVIS fee. That's to keep people, that they can keep track of what you're doing in America. This is also a few $100s. If I'm not mistaken. So all in all, you have quite a big cost of going there, and of course you can look for grants as well. Right now you have to take a TOEFL test, so a general English test. But I think if your English is, you know, decent, you should really be able to pass that test. I didn't have to take it, but I did do a medical English course because my school, my university actually asked for it. But yeah, right now you do need to take a TOEFL test, but any other testing like medical school testing, for example the USMLE steps, I didn't have to take any of them. But what I did have to do is show some proof that I had knowledge comparable to the USMLE test. And this was a bit of a tricky part because at the KU Leuven they told me, like, we cannot actually tell, we cannot make a statement telling another university that you have the same qualifications as that university, because we get taught in a different way. But we can tell you that you comply to the European values standards, basically. And that's something that I did get from the KU Leuven, and I had no problems at all with Mount Sinai because of that qualification that was needed. The experience was amazing, basically. I was there for 3 months, like I told probably already. That's also something I would like to stress out. Like, if you want to do a surgical internship, a lot of people out there, a lot of doctors will say, well, in America you will not get your hands on any surgery at all. But I could stand on the operation table every single operation. You know, it's a teaching hospital, so it's difficult. There's always an assistant there, but you know, that's something you know from a teaching point of view. But you will definitely be able to get your hands on surgery, also in America as a foreign student. So don't be discouraged by anything other people say. There's really possibilities out there. But for my experience itself, I was there for general surgery for 1 month. Did laparoscopic appendicectomies, also cholecystectomies. Mostly laparoscopic surgeries, and I assisted as the first assistant that first month on the operation table, so really good experience all in all. Then I was 2 months on transplant surgery, 1 month was on kidney surgery, and 1 on liver transplantation. So that was really interesting, because on that last 2 months, we got to fly away to actually do the donor and acceptor surgery. You get to see how the whole process is taking place. You know, you get called, you're on call. You go with an ambulance to a private jet, and then with a private jet you go and do the acceptor surgery. So that's such an amazing experience. But also when you're there, you actually get a very good anatomical class, because you know, it's always very unfortunate that people pass away, obviously, but for us, you know, as a student, medical student, and you get to see the whole process of a donor surgery going on. Yeah, it's amazing. Well, for me, obviously, I was in New York, and I can honestly say that it's a really great city. You know, if you're here and you want to strike a conversation with somebody, you start by saying, well, what about the weather, you know, and you hope that you have a good conversation from there. But there you have the question, where are you from? And there's just so many cultures coming together. I was there at the operation table, and we're there with, I think, at some point with 15, I'm not joking, 15 nationalities. You can have a conversation about almost any country in the world. And I think that really adds to your all view of the, you know, this sounds a bit big, but of the world, you know. The conversations are just so much more diverse, and also the people that you meet always have a different story to tell. And I think that's so good about, well, my experience, for example, but also about New York. It's really such a big place where everything and everybody comes together. The biggest tip I would give to people that are actually watching this will be that there's really a lot of opportunities out there. You just need to know the right people, you know. Try to speak with people a year ahead of you. See if people out there went to another country. You know, in my year there were people going to Australia that they had to take care of that themselves. There were people in Europe, there were people, well, I was to America, there's people to South America. And even the unplanned routes are really possible. You just need to know your people. And I think that's the most important thing, to not get discouraged by, you know, knowing that it's hard. Obviously it's hard, but there's really loopholes that you can try. And that's my most important tip I would definitely give to people. Ja, dus als je stage in Amerika wil doen, moet je het zeker doen. Ik denk echt dat er goede mogelijkheden zijn. Het is mij gelukt. Er zijn heel veel andere mensen die het ook is gelukt. Gewoon de juiste mensen kennen. Ga mensen informeren in het jaar boven je. Ga gewoon kijken ook naar grants. Er zal er vast wel eentje zijn waar je iets uit kunt halen. En ik zou iedereen aanraden het te proberen, want het is absoluut de moeite waard. En het geeft je zoveel meer kijk op het leven.